And it is the depravity of man. And so I think, when in the days of Noah, I can't imagine what was going on that God would send a flood to destroy everybody. But I've got to believe that a large component was just complete sexual deviant behavior,
Yeah.
So I can't even think what went on in Noah's time. And so we expect complete darkness when it comes to the heart of man, where man rejects God. But for you and me as the believer, the only way I overcome this is the intimacy I have with Jesus, connected to the vine. Then there is a light in me, and it's this candle that shines in the darkness, which helps me, I know there's another way. I know there's a better way, and it's His call, the deep that calls to deep. It says, this is where the water is. Come and drink from this water, this well, and be satisfied. Yeah. I will give you water that will satisfy you.
Right.
When you drink the water of the world, you thirst again. But when you drink what I give you, there's a level of satisfaction that comes that then becomes so attractive to those who've never tasted it or drunk of it,
Yeah. No, that's great. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the solution to, because we have established now the ultimate solution is intimacy. What the antithesis of lust is intimacy, is the fulfillment of that. And I want to talk about on one side, and then I want to move on to a different side of it, this topic. But then let's talk about how, because shockingly we see that this is not only a struggle of single men that are out there. This is also married men that struggle with this, and people that are in ministry positions as well, with families that even struggle with this. So are we seeing that this marriage is not enough? Like, marriage is not fulfilling the intimacy? Like, are they not getting?
Yeah. So I will say the temptation or the struggle since I got married was not any easier once I was married. It didn't suddenly, now it's all easy, because actually, and I think I said this to you before, you need to have more control of your body once you're married than before you're married.
Right.
Because in the marriage relationship, there are many times where you cannot have sex. You cannot make love to your wife because there are different things going on that don't allow it. And you have permission. You're allowed to long for her, and yet there are many times, for her sake and for other reasons, that you have to be able to control yourself and not to follow through.
Right.
And so if you haven't learned how to control your body before, it becomes harder even once you are married, So I don't think marriage is the fix. And you speak to any married man, they'll tell you it's not marriage that makes this battle any easier. Marriage doesn't fix the battle.
Right. Right. But
a healthy marriage, certainly, I think a healthy marriage and a healthy love life with your wife certainly has a massive part to play, because again, I think it's the rejection sometimes that you feel that takes you to pornography, often in marriage as well. So often when I really, and I think in most situations, for the man, he's far more desiring, more regularly, I would say. And so knowing how to manage that and not seeing it as rejection is so important, because the minute I feel like being rejected for my quick fix, either I say, I'm going to get her back, or I'm going to go look, I'm going to go for my quick fix here. that's just you never win that battle. But I think that's the temptation or the challenge for men. And then to realize my battle is dealing with rejection. It's actually not my wife. Because most of the time there's no intention of the wife to reject. That's more my battle. I'm seeing it as that, but that's not what she's intending. But I interpret it in those ways, and then I connect the dots with rejection that goes back to other parts of my life. And then I realize, but this is the battle. It's not my wife. The battle is I've experienced rejection all my life, and this is what leads me to go to pornography, to try not to feel rejected. So let me go off to rejection and sort that out. When I get healed from that, then the battle against pornography completely changes.
So it eventually is the individual wholeness that can work out marriage wholeness. So it's not like it's not like a 50% trying to fit the puzzle in together to make a better picture. Or I mean, I guess there is some sense to that too, but it is the person that needs to be healed themselves, and from that place of wholeness, one can serve one another properly in selflessness.
Yeah, because otherwise I can say, well, hey, it's my wife's fault.
Yeah.
She's not giving me what I need, so it's on her.
Right.
That is total selfishness. It's like, no. When I stand before God one day, if I do what Adam did, I'm in big trouble. Because God will say, I've heard that before.
Wow, yeah, that's actually precisely on point. That is exactly what Adam did.
He blamed her. We cannot do that, and we cannot afford to do. Certainly, a healthy sex life with your wife certainly helps. There's no question. But I can never go down that road of blaming my wife for my sinful behavior. I can't do that.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility.
The quest for intimacy is their own with God, and inner healing is their own, and so the two can make up the marriage. But I wonder, like, pornography to men is a struggle in a major sense, but and there are also women who also struggle with pornography these days as well. Yeah. I hear that the number is growing. But what are more of the typical because the intimacy, it can't only be a struggle of men, of course, and like the woman, like how do they, what are the things that becomes the fruit of their lacking of intimacy? As much as how men want to resolve ourselves into lust and pornography.
So I think unwanted sexual behavior is definitely a fruit. And then I think, as you said, it's not just purely sexual things. We can look for it in material things, because the more I get, then the more I'm seen, more people will accept me and love me when they see how successful I am, all the things that I have. But then there's comfort foods. There's they've said often pornography for women is romance novels. They get hooked on these romance novels where you've got the perfect man who treats her perfectly, and then she just wants more and more of that, because she's also trying to find that perfect place of intimacy. So there are all these avenues, these outlets that we go to that are the fruit of a lack of intimacy, a lack of relationship.
This is also something that is very intriguing. I don't know whether I should actually include this in the interview or not, but hopefully that I don't get misjudged into a weird guy who looks into this stuff. But because I'm interested in psychology and stuff, because there are psychologists were talking about the archetypes that they find in women and their desire, right? And that is the basic story of that. The basic desire and the lust of woman is to tame the beast, basically. So what that is 50 Shades of Grey, for example, or there's this ridiculous romantic movies like a Twilight series, where men.
The Twilight.
Yes.
The Twilight series was, I remember some guy teaching, and he said that's a perfect example. It's such an example of that same fantasy a man looks for in pornography.
Wow, yeah.
The Twilight series offers to the woman. It's that same longing, need,
Right.
It's a perfect example.
Right. Because what they're talking about is there's some sort of a figure, masculine figure that is not tameable, it's not controlled, but the woman, through her attractiveness, I guess, like somehow it manages to tame this figure, and he belongs to her, and that's why apparently like women are also attracted to bad guys, like who actually causes much harm to women, but they are still attracted to him because of that some sort of a inner desire of wanting to tame this person. That's what 50 Shades of Grey is. Figure who is a millionaire, struggles with a rough past himself, and then she kind of brings him to the place of wholeness, sort of a deal. I don't know. I thought I would just mention that because I thought it was really interesting.
No, totally. And I think the key is also we tend to focus on the fruit rather than the root.
Right, exactly.
And I think at the end of the day, it's not a matter of, hey, you've just got to stop. I don't know that that's worked for anyone. I certainly think there are practical things we can do to, that we're just responsible to try and not let ourselves be caught, in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
But we have to go after what is driving the behavior, because I think sexual brokenness is just telling me that there's something in my life that needs to be healed. And I need to say, God, I need you to help me find where is that place so that I can get healed. And the minute I get healed, then the battle changes. I mean, the pull, the draw to it suddenly is not what it was before.
Yeah. And I actually wonder about that as well, because do disciplines actually work? The majority of the conversation among men in regards to this is, I think it's also because we don't know so much about how we have to go on this journey of finding this, looking for this route. But more of us talk about the disciplines, right? Being vulnerable, being open to one another, and talking about it. And when we have sinned, confessing it with your brother and praying for one another, which is needed, I'm sure.
It's all part of it, but it's not the whole part.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's critical that we've got brothers who we are honest and vulnerable with, that we can just not live in shame and walk in the light. That's definitely an issue. I also think, so often there's a setup, a familiar setup. The enemy uses a very similar road to get you to the place where you fall. So I think also learning the setup helps. So I think, it's not being this lamb that just goes to the slaughter. We learn what the setup is. And I think so often those are, to me, practical things, saying, I'm feeling vulnerable right now. And so I don't want to get myself in a place where I'm going to be set up to fall. And it's in those moments that I start to do the battle. Sometimes I've got to fight the battle in the moment, So I think those are some practical things. But I still think at the end of the day, you're saying, what is drawing me there? Because that's not normal. There's something that's triggering me, and usually it's an emotional something that's going on. I'm triggered. And it's going to take me there. Now I've got to make a choice. Am I going to do the work and say, Lord, where's this coming from? Let me go after healing, or I'll follow the track, and go.
Right. So is it as simple as to say that if, like, God's love is enough, is it really that, like, in a basic sense? But then now we're talking about, okay, sure, God's love is enough, but how does it apply to this place? The more of a union that you are in with God, the more you will...
The more I'm in union with God, the less my desire to sin, because I'm living in truth. Remember, I think in the last session we spoke about, your word have I hid in my heart that I may not sin against you. I think once my mind And again, that's Romans 12, be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Mm.
When I'm living and thinking in truth, the setup and the deception by the enemy becomes so much easier. You see it for what it is.
Mm.
He can't deceive me because I'm grounded in truth of what I know.
Mm.
And so the draw to those sinful things becomes much harder because I see it for what it is now. And I still have to make the choice, right?
Mm.
The choice is still there. The temptation is there. I just now see it for what it is. I'm like, well, that's just the strategy of the enemy. I know what's true, and I'm choosing truth. So I don't think we'll ever have a life of no temptation. It's always going to be there. But when I'm grounded and living in truth, I see it for what it is, and it's got no power over me.
Right. And that also plus we have, as you mentioned earlier as well, being in the community, being in a healthy relationship with all people around, with your family,
Huge.
with people, with church as well. That's the crucial thing. That's all the different elements that kind of works together.
That's intimacy. Yeah, it's intimacy vertically and intimacy horizontally.
Right. So wow, can we say that we are struggling? Many men are struggling in church with this because we are not able to. We as a church, we are not fulfilling that part to one another.
Exactly, Jay. And again, I can have brothers in my life who know me, because that's the key, right? They know me.
Mm-hmm.
They know my failings and my weakness and my struggle. It's incredible when I've got that depth of relationship where I'm truly known. Then there's a level of intimacy I'm finding that changes that battle. It changes, how people that if I'm single, when I do find someone, the way I look upon them and love them is such a healthy, it's coming from a healthy place. I think the problem at church is we operate at a superficial level way too much. We don't take the time to go to another level of vulnerability and authenticity.
But then Paul also encouraged the people of Corinth, for example, like to get married, if you were to burn in passion, right? Rather than to burn in passion.
Yes.
And
yes.
so.
And that's why, Jay, I think it's important that we don't almost sexual desire and passion. It's part of being a human, and not to call that dirty or wrong, right. Or it's just what I do with it. That it's important. So sometimes we I think it's being made to be dirty rather than something that's beautiful. Yeah, C.S. Lewis said badness is just spoiled goodness.
Exactly, yeah. Because I think what we're trying to do more by doing that is just hide it even more, and that creates even more shame. But then, I think we can't just be real about this stuff. I don't know how much credit there to is, but they say that sexual desire is as primal as it is of like eating, to us, and it just shows us how human this is, how the need for this belonging and intimacy is such a primary thing to all of us, and we want to talk as if like that's not a part of a conversation among ourselves as Christians.
Why has the church decided that it's not an important issue to talk about? Why is it a no-no? The whole world talks about it all the time, but somehow in the church we're not allowed to talk about it, and I think we've paid a price for that. Often we go to porn to educate us when rather the church should be doing that. Or we're talking about it out of truth, and out of God's way rather than letting the world educate us.
Yeah, because the fathers are also ashamed to educate their children and their son about this stuff. Sometimes
it's such a lie. It's such a lie.
Yeah, and the the secular non-Christians actually kind of tend to do a better job at that than sometimes it seems.
Certainly. Yes, yes. My friend, his son has just turned 13.
Okay.
He took him out like 2 weeks ago and taught him about what masturbation is.
Okay.
And this kid's eyes nearly came out of his head, Dad, what are you talking about? And all that, But he heard it first from his dad, in a way that his dad was able to talk the whole thing through him. Now, when he hears it on the playground or somewhere else, he got it first from a healthy place. And I think if fathers would do that more, man, the kids would be so much better set up to make good choices, in the days ahead.
No, I think looking at it like this, I think it really is it's a big grip that the enemy has on us as Christians, for a rightly reason for being so as well, because like I said, it is our roots. It is part of like the root problem that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Talking about knowledge, lust, unfulfillment, emptiness in our hearts, and what we are really longing for it eventually at the end of the day is the wholeness that we can have spiritually, and then moving on from there to all the other areas of relationship in our lives. Yeah.
And it's just saying, so if I haven't found that wholeness, what is it that's in the way? Because God wants that for me. There's something in the way of that. Let me discover that. So I would say, when I found some guys who are maybe accountable to, I can be honest and vulnerable, and we talk about it, like the usual disciplines, I would just add to the discussion saying, all right, I'm so thankful I can come to you guys when I fall and you pray for me, but I want you guys to help discover where this is coming from. Let's talk about that. Add that dynamic to the discussion where you're saying, I'm going to go after this until I found it, and it's going to help me overcome, but I need you guys to help me. Pray with me. Let's go after.
And that in itself takes courage, because you have to be exposed. You have to talk about.
Yeah, it's going to show you wounding. It may show you some things that have gone on that are shameful to you. And now you even got to be vulnerable there, and yet that's where the healing is waiting. It's waiting there.
To have that kind of a trusting community, like that's what church should be about, but then like we are so not used to that, and I wonder how we can create that sort of a culture, where we can be so courageous to open ourselves to vulnerability to one another like that, because we were definitely not taught that.
No, totally. We were taught to hide, And yet, I'm sure you'd agree with me. I've found that when guys have come to me and shared what was for them deeply shameful or sinful stuff, my respect for them only increased. It didn't get worse. I actually respected them more, that they were willing to actually come and share that with me. I actually hold them in higher honor. That's the irony. That you're not hiding this anymore. You're coming out. That took so much courage and strength for you to do this. I feel greater respect, That's for me the irony of it, It's like any discussion about sin should actually strengthen my faith and not weaken it. But it goes back to identity, right? I'm not defined by my sins, so I can lead the way and share my own vulnerability, which then allows others to also join that space.
That's such a counter survival tactic. That's because going back to the origin again, we have to hide ourselves. That's how we survive in this world. That's what knowledge has taught us. Hide yourself, cover yourselves up. Then the eventual antithesis of that, the antidote of that, is to get out, be out in the light.
Yes. Because the lie is, if I told you this about myself, you would not think well of me.
Exactly.
You would think worse of me.
You will not like the real me.
Yeah, and yet I'm thinking, God, there's nothing you don't know about me, and you think well of me. Who cares what man thinks?
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of when I get to that place, like, God, there's nothing you don't know about me, and you accept me and love me as I am. Why am I worried about this guy? What he thinks? What's there? It's like freedom is when it doesn't matter what you think of me, because I already know God thinks well of me, and He knows me better than you do.
Yeah, that is the true fearing of the Lord, isn't it? Like,
yes,
what it is to consider the viewpoint of God greater than the we have a fear of man and around us. Totally. So Andy, just to summarize out here, so like I guess like the practical tips that we could talk. I mean, what we have mentioned and talked about here is obviously our individual search and our journey to fullness. Looking at what is it that the Spirit really desires, and seeing how much in detail of how Jesus actually goes and fulfills that and heals that in our parts of our lives. It could be the lack we have had from our parents. It could be the pain and the trauma of the past, or whatever it may be, unforgiveness, or anything that goes along with that, because it's from the Spirit out to the body, the manifestation in the body. And then along with that, also what is important is to have that healthy, strong community of people that we can practice this intimacy, where we can practice into me see. Yes. To say that, hey, this is what I am. Man, that's definitely a challenge. But at least we know what the ideal is, what we know can help, what should be the wholeness.
And most of us will be surprised, I think, when we do share and vulnerable, how the other person would probably accept us and receive us. I think most people are more surprised than the other way, Right. When it's a brother who I know knows the Lord and cares about me. I can't think any time where I've chosen to be vulnerable where I wasn't blessed from that, because this person actually loved me and accepted me even more afterwards,
Indeed. Yeah. And that's a sort of same kind of a deep intimacy, intimacy that the marriage should be portraying. Right?
Yes. So, my spouse, there should be nothing hidden to my spouse. Yeah.
Right. No secrets among the spouse. I mean, you should get married, but for the purpose of this intimacy.
Yes.
That is what fulfills the 3-chord marriage, I guess. And so these things working together is what adds to the strength on just overcoming this sin. I mean, overcoming lust, because we are not in need of this, as a matter of fact.
Yes. We see it for what it is.
Right. We see it for what it is. We see it as...
It's an empty promise.
Yeah. Well, Andy, I think this conversation has been an intriguing and engaging one, and I am really thankful that we actually are able to have this conversation, and I am sure that people are enjoying the insights out from here, and hopeful again in dealing with this matter of our lives, challenging ourselves to look deeper. Do you have any final thoughts or words in regards to this, or any encouragements that you might have to men or women that may be watching or listening to this?
Yeah, that don't give up. Many people feel hopeless, like there's no way out. I promise you there is, and He loves you, and He loves you whether you think you can get out of it or not. It's not affected by His love, but just there is a way to overcome this where it no longer has any control over you, and just be in for the battle. Be in it, fight it until you're free, because I think freedom is waiting, and for all the ways we've shared, there is a way to overcome. And thank you so much for choosing to engage this. I feel like you're hitting, such a crucial topic, and just pray God continues to move you in these ways to talk about these important aspects of faith that It's been quiet for too long.
Mm.
It's time to talk.
Mm.
Get it out and talk about it. So thank you for leading us in this. Yeah.
Thank you, Andy, for joining us in this. This has been such a wonderful thing. As you said, we are a free man. Gotta act like a free man that belongs to Christ, in order to tackle with this issue. So
yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you too many times,
what a joy.
but it is a joy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate it doing, and I'm learning stuff just even as we talk. So it's been wonderful. Thank you.
It has been such a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy. I will see you next time, then.
All right, Jay. God bless you.
God bless you.